computer. Alrighty, lots to get through today. I think we've got lots of things, but just off the bat, Ray just said he found an article in the Herald Sun for a college that's doing some sort of legal pro or something. So it's like outside the normal curriculum. So he's going to share that with us. Maybe we'll do a dive into that next week when we can actually find the article and have a read, because I did a bit of a search but couldn't find anything. So it's called Riverside. So if anyone finds anything on that, it could be quite interesting. I think Ray thought it was sort of pertinent to what we're actually building with this.
Thanks, Ray.
Yeah, thanks heaps, Ray. Hopefully we can sort your computer out for next time. So yeah, quick intro. So Ray is still here because you can just not talk or we can't see him, but so he's the ex-principal from Rhino Park, so the school that we built the learning space at, and Janet is with us as well. So she's the ex-AP from the school. So thanks for jumping in, Janet. I think your inputs, both of your inputs are going to be awesome, particularly for some of the curriculum design stuff that we've been working on. I think your input for that would be really worthwhile, because basically what we're doing, just to put you in the picture, is building like an open learning network. So Ray's response to me when I said, do you want to jump in, he said, I don't know anything about Bitcoin or computers. And I said, well, no, it's not just about that. We're actually building like what we did with the Enigma mission, so like self-directed learning, we're creating a learning community around that. So instead of it just being at one school with, you know, a few students doing it, it's about that philosophy available for everybody, stemming from financial literacy. So that at the core, going into problem-based learning. So all right, now you're financially literate to a degree. What problems do you want to solve? And building a project where we have a community to sort of help that. So I think your inputs on that would be, yeah, really worthwhile. So just to kick off quickly, so I've got started building. I'll just share my screen quickly. So we've got a build going with Gitbook. So Gitbook is amazing. I think, Jacques, thanks for reminding me about that, because I totally forgot. And it's such a good piece of software. But I've actually got it set up. So I've done a subdomain, so curriculum.theschoolofbitcoin.com. And Jill, this is like based off your spreadsheet. So we can play around with this. We can sort of change it. But I think like the bit entry program, we really need to get really down to like the really concise to what we think is important, and sort of moving through that and then into a practical sort of hands-on with the tech. So I think the three things we sort of want to achieve from the bit entry program is like an ID creation. So like that, I think that BTC.US account creation on Stacks would be really beneficial for maybe not everybody to do, but it's as an optional thing. Hiro wallet setup, I think that's really key, because we basically need that for everything that we're going to be doing. And I think in terms of actually sitting the type form test, that'll be the authentication. Hopefully, if we can figure that out, Jack. And then Wallet of Satoshi LURL setup. So I think those three things, if we can get them, and like why you would want to have them as the bit entry program among this other stuff that we've done, that'd be really cool. I've reached out to these guys. So it's actually pretty pricey, the Gitbook as a team sort of membership. You can do, it's like a free option, but I don't think you can do like your own like subdomains and stuff with it. So I reached out to them and put an application in. There's a few different things they have. So under this one here. So can you guys see that okay?
Yep.
So under not-for-profit, I thought maybe we could fit into that. Probably this, I'm thinking, because I actually applied under an education criteria, which I thought we'd probably get away with, but I think what they want is basically student email addresses when they got back to me. So I think maybe it's a bot that got back to me. So we might do another application and see if we can get that as an open source license, but I might work with you, Jacques, just to see if we kind of meet those criteria before I do another submission. Might be the way to go. But yeah, super cool software, and I think we kick off with that. The other thing I've got set up for the 23rd, I don't know if the invite came through to everybody, but I can send it again. It's something to do with Calendly, like doesn't always give you a proper invite, but anyway, it's 9 p.m, so it's a bit of a late one. That's for the DWork walkthrough. So I think that'd be really good. Thanks, Gordon, for reminding me about that as well, because I think it's definitely worth jumping onto. And yeah, finally, the only other thing I really wanted to just address was the Discord. So Discord's been awesome. Thanks, Jeremy, for set everything up, because it's really, really good. And I think bringing everyone into the one space has been really cool. Is there anyone that's not on yet? I think, Janet, you just joined, didn't you?
I just joined too. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Cool. So I think we're all on then. Awesome. All right. So I might hand it over to Jill, because I think your card game, what you just shared, is amazing. I don't know if you want to share your screen or I can share it on here.
If you're happy to share your screen, that would be great.
Sure thing. Yeah, let's bring it up. Yes, so cool. You'll love this, Janet. This is cool.
It's very much a work in progress. So the very first thing that you see, if you think from, I suppose, a tangible product perspective, that maybe a box, for example, a box lid. And I was thinking there's a lot of words there, so we can play with words, we can play with images, but I wondered whether maybe what jumped out to people was learn to talk DeFi. Perhaps, or maybe what jumps out is something like what's at stake, because that sort of alludes to the staking in crypto, that is that passive income stream that people are just not aware of. And I noticed, Gordon, you put in a comment in the Discord channel about property and assets and thinking of crypto as property and assets. And I really agree with what you're saying there. And in addition, also that idea of earning passive income, I think mainstream of people just have got no idea as to what it is going to mean to them. And I think that then comes back to the base that Kieran always talks about is, are they financially literate? And like we said on Monday, are they DeFi literate? Because I think it's the DeFi world that we're entering in. So that basically, if you can imagine that being your box lid or sort of your main marketing, but absolutely up for grabs with regards to how we position, you know, whether it's kids or adults or Bitcoin or money or whatever it is. And then the next bit, I sort of started off making, you can see, you know, what generally games have is their rules. And again, this is all just work in progress, just to show people, you know, that comes next sort of thing, is like Jeremy said, you know, what are the rules of the game? And it was a really good question for me on Monday, because I thought, actually, I don't really know. Like, we can take this back to bare basics and actually make it something that is competitive. And Jeremy, you know, you've got a lot more experience with gaming than I have. So maybe it's something that fits between tangible world and digital world. So I left, and you can see, if you just scroll down a bit, Kieran, I left that blank. Basically, you know, what's the aim of the game, up to sort of the group to sort of pitch in. And then I sort of went down, if you scroll down, I sort of had a vague idea with regards to, Jacques, we talked about the core values that we sort of want to go through, whether it's things like your knowledge and understanding, maybe it's emotions and feelings, and then maybe it's outcomes and impact. And so I wondered whether the cards could actually have, you know, different kinds of cards, like your pile for knowledge and understanding, maybe something to do with feelings. So, for example, knowledge and understanding could be, to me, Bitcoin means, you know, complete sentence. Does it mean money? Does it mean freedom? Does it mean magic money or something like that? And again, going down, if you scroll down, things like, for example, explain in your own words what a crypto airdrop means. And again, that's new terminology, and some people will totally get it, and some people will think, what are you talking about? So if we keep going down, there's very obvious things that created Bitcoin. If we keep going down again, these are all sort of knowledge and understanding type of things. What does it mean to invest wisely? So taking it back, Karen, sort of thinking back to basics, like you sort of said the other day, you know, filling in the gaps for people before we get to things like what are seed words. There's questions in there that sort of fill in a range of gaps so that a range of people can feel comfortable. But also technical questions like, you know, Gavin Anderson turned on the Bitcoin faucet in 2010. What does this mean? You know, interesting things you think, I don't know. Security, if we keep going down, just questions about what you remember about first using the internet, because I think everybody's got a story. And then if we keep going down, how do you learn more about money? Those how questions as opposed to just the what questions. And then questions like work, play, which do you prefer and why? So really personal, sort of just to open up conversations. Play to earn, how is that changing our ideas about working and playing? If you were the leader of your country, one of those conditional statement type things. And then just keep going down, things like what was your name of your first friend? What's a really cool avatar? Whether or not we want to get down to that level, I don't know. And then if we go down a bit further, in the crypto space of DeFi, there are times when things don't go as planned. When do you feel your patience is challenged? Gordon, you probably remember 3 weeks ago, my patience was being really challenged when I was looking for some coins I'd lost on Sandbox and was having a problem with the bridging. So you can really make those complex stories and explain that. Or you can just say, you know, I feel challenged when I hear the word airdrop for the first time. What's it mean? When people disagree with you, how do you react? We could go down to those basic sort of questions that don't necessarily need to connect with this, but it could. And then if we just scroll down a little bit more, cyberbullying, for example, when you make a decision, are you quick or slow? Does it matter? In crypto, maybe it does. Going down a bit further, we're almost at the end of my ideas. So, you know, how often do you check your phone for messages? And scrolling down a bit further, what kind of learner are you? Practical or academic, do you have a preference for the way you like to learn? Going down a bit further, what do you think schools will look like in 100 years' time? If you're in charge of your school, what changes would you make? How much screen time is too much in one day? So I think just to summarize what I was trying to achieve, and this is everything's just basically a whole load of ideas about the kind of questions with regards to thinking questions, the what and the how and the if and so on, but also trying to look at different categories. So if we had that knowledge and understanding, if we had the emotions and feelings, if we had, I'm trying to think back to the core values that we had. And then if we were to develop maybe a spreadsheet as opposed to, obviously I've tried to make it a bit colorful and tried to conceptualize the idea in a sort of more marketing sense today. But if we were to work it, whether it's GitHub or whether to work it from the curriculum that we're developing, or whether it's an Excel sheet, to actually categorize some of those questions, and then as a community jump on in and sort of, you know, flesh it out. That's me.
That's so cool. So cool. I was thinking just having a play around with Gitbook, we could essentially build these out like in there, so it's sitting on GitHub as well. I was thinking we could do, because you can do like you know, images and all sorts of stuff on this, build off that. And then I was thinking for each of these, we could have like visuals, so like somebody design something for that, and maybe even getting learners to do that as well, and that way it's sort of community owned as well. But that's so cool, such a cool idea. Well done, Jill. Yeah,
and again, I'm not really, I don't know where the title jumps out to people. You know, what do you want to call it? So at the moment, I've sort of called it a game of decentralized finance. You know, 999 times crypto curious, but like I don't know what jumps out at people, what they like. So there's a range of ideas anyway.
I like the crypto curious. I thought that was really clever. We came up with another one on Monday.
Yeah, we did.
Crypto curious something. It was really
conversations good. Crypto curious conversations.
Yeah, maybe that was it. We've recorded it, so we can probably yeah, very cool indeed. All right, so I reckon we look at Git. Well, I'll have a play around with GitHub, and I'll let you know, or with Gitbook. I'll let you know if we get the license. If we get that, then we can just start putting everything into that, and yeah, it's like really visual, and you'll like it. And then you can start using GitHub as well.
Yep.
So that was that one. I just before we get into the did you want to get into the Jamboard stuff in this session, Gordon? Like before we have the meeting later on? I think you muted. Good. No worries, Janet. Cool. Gordon, can you hear? No. We just can't hear you. We're figuring that out.
Yeah, I just had a bit of trouble with my hearing sound, whatever.
Through my tech.
While you're figuring this out, can I just add something I've been thinking about?
Sure.
When thinking about people coming across this for the first time, whether it's children, teachers, families, whoever, I've been thinking about some of De Bono's strategies, and one of them is consequences and sequels. Now, when people hear Bitcoin, what are they going to think straight away? When they hear about Crypto Curious in the game, what are they worried about, or what do they want to know about? What will be the consequences of people being involved in such a thing? The consequences now. The consequences in 3 months, 6 months, 5 or 10 years. Too often there's the magic moment where people do things and it's fabulous and what a wow, something it was, but then on to the next thing. Flavor of the month calendar type thing. But look, this is not something, a short-term activity. This is something that we're looking to actually change major things. And for people to be aware of the consequences and sequels can be very, very powerful. And there's a few of De Bono's strategies that I won't go into it all now, but just to touch them.
No, please, yeah.
Another one is CAF, CAF, consider all factors. What are all the factors that we're considering here? Factors like this morning, Ray getting on board. Now, teachers are not always technologically savvy. Shouldn't be like that, but they haven't all got a Kieran in their school. And grandparents who are probably the ones going to be worried about their kids' financial literacy and things like this. So I think some of these strategies that De Bono has thought up and has developed and have been used internationally can sort of be embedded in the way that we're working with this and developing it.
Aaron, could I just jump in and ask you, what kind of copyright does De Bono's work have? For example, if we were to work, for example, on a publication using Bitcoin and the School of Bitcoin with De Bono's strategies and put something out there, how sort of open to they, who do you, with regards to copyright, how are they linked? Can we just use the green hat, red hat, and some of these terminologies, or?
Look, he has a lot of his work, but sadly he passed away.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of his work is free for teachers, and it always was. And I can give more information about that. I've also worked with Edward De Bono for a while and have contact with his son, and I can certainly clarify those. If you, they're amazing people, and they want people to clearly and be better thinkers. So I don't think there'll be a problem. But if you can just email me what you think that we need to clarify,
all right,
I'm very happy to follow that up.
Karen, I might make my next sort of little mini project in the now sort of time this week to contact you just with some ideas, maybe that we can share at a later date with the group with regards to De Bono strategies and the School of Bitcoin, if that's okay.
Sure, happy to, very happy to.
Okay, all right.
What do you reckon, Jeremy, about turning some of that, like the cards idea, like into something digital? Have you got like a way that we could do that? Rather like sort of quickly, I suppose. Like I'm just thinking Gitbook because I'm using it for the curriculum, but is there something better we could build on?
Like a digital game which people could play online, or just a digital?
Well, either I suppose. Like is there a platform where we could sort of embed it into the site, I suppose, that, or I don't know.
You could make the game into like an online HTML game. But that'd be cool, but there's quite a bit of development, I guess, involved with it. You'd have to flesh out like what how to actually play the game, the rules, the gameplay, how to score points, determine winners, and all that kind of stuff first. Yeah, I'll have a think about it and get back to you. Because I think the scope's probably pretty big.
Huge, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we build out like the questions and the cards and the rules first.
Yeah.
Maybe think about that down the track.
So I think before digitizing it, get the rules, get the gameplay going, then we can play it like over video call, whatever, test it, and then once we have a game, we're like, okay, this is fun, then we can turn it into something people can play online.
Maybe on Twitch.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, very cool. All right. Well, the only other thing I wanted to ask was, Jacques, did you have any chance to have a play with that Hiro authentication? I haven't built a page yet for it, but I was going to have a look later today.
I haven't had a chance to get into that yet.
Okay. Cool.
Yep.
I'll look at doing a type form at some point today, just like a basic one that we can have a play with, and then we can.
Okay. And it kind of lines up well. Even the next week when we'll be diving back into curriculum design, it'll be us focused on the NFT aspect of it.
Yeah.
So I'll start to tinker with like what that authentication looks like throughout this week. See if we can use it for the type form too.
Awesome. That sounds good. Yeah, so I guess the only other thing was, Gordon, if you wanted to go through the Jamboard stuff now before the next meeting.
Yeah, great, excellent. So I was just thinking about, because I've been working on like the legal structures and different things, and part of my project that I'm doing at the Advanced Diploma of Applied Blockchain is about a DAO. So at the Digital Playhouse, we've got we've set up a crypto fund, which is a foundation which we're hoping to be a Michael Saylor type foundation, where we have people invest their crypto with us, or philanthropically provide crypto to us, a bit of a forever fund that would fund out the future of our learning centre here in Aggregated. So a bit like the Stacks, model that we're adopting. So I started to, so in that there, I just thought I'd put up some ideas. This is not something that we're going to cover in one day, but it's some things that we can plug and play and actually put some decisions that are being made along the way. To say, okay, if we're, first of all, we've got a website, we've got Discord, and so I've put them up there and get them operating and functioning properly. So we'll go through a bunch of different things. So I took a little model. I took a leaf out of the book of the Blockchain Collective's Center of Excellence. I've got a little circle down there in the bottom left-hand corner. Jacques, you might be able to expand that up. I actually haven't asked the boys to, I won't leave this on there because I didn't ask the boys if I could actually have it on here. Okay. But it's about if you were to develop a blockchain project, they had this little model here where you've got the core, the project idea, and you'd obviously get educated around that idea. And then how would you put together all the structure around you to make sure that it's success, and what sort of people you'd bring in, who would contribute to the project, and then right out to the outside. So you see a lot of crypto projects like DAOs and the likes. They have advisors, they have core team, they have marketing managers, they have all the components to run a business. So I just sort of spun that over into a little model for us there, and would go through that. So if we can just go to the next slide there, Jacques. So I just wanted to review those components. Because we're building a DAO, I thought, well, we should just not do this today, but actually just, do any of us know about DAOs? How many of us do in the project? I think as a part of this learning journey, the more we know about what our project's about, you might be from a school background, but then why not learn about DAOs? So I think that's important. And I think there was some things around that in the marketing project where you were defining your project as to how that will determine the governance of the project. So when you have a DAO, you've got governance, and I thought there's some ideas around that. So yeah, so we'll just move on to the next slide and we'll go through these rather than just sitting on that quickly. So here is just just a blank board about DAOs. It's some ideas. It's probably to get you thinking and get you start exploring and start to learn about DAOs. So I pulled up a couple of points that I learned this week. And it was sort of like learned that the DAOs actually watch one of Stack's videos. I actually posted in Discord about DAOs. It was done last year, and seeing that, you know, the DAO is the next evolution of the final financial and social network of the internet. So without going into the details of that, I think just getting and encouraging you to go in and learn as much as you can about DAOs. And then I think there was some things in our overall project. We talk about our main DAO, and then we've got a bunch of sub DAOs. So in our main DAO, and so there was two concepts that came up. One is the autonomous organization, the decentralized autonomous organization, and then the decentralized automated organization. So it seems that like a bigger project is a decentralized autonomous organization, whereas a smaller project where it's just a group of friends getting together, they might just be using that technology to do something to automate a process. So I think there's a couple of parts there in DAOs, and I wasn't quite sure if that would actually apply in our big DAOs and our sub DAOs.
That's really interesting. So what's the micro automated DAO? Like, how did they describe that? Or do they have examples?
Yeah, so they do. So that would be just say a group of us are getting together and we're building the card game. And we want to raise a DAO around that. Yeah. So we might want to raise some capital to fund that DAO, to fund that card game. So we spin up a DAO, we raise some capital, and we build the game. Gotcha. We don't really, it's not something, whereas if you've got something like Aave, a major DeFi project, it's like it's a group of completely anonymous people working together. Yes. So in a micro project, it would be a group of people that are quite known to each other. So if it was a school that had its own little DAO, but they all know each other, there's no one really external in that DAO.
Yep. That makes a lot of sense. That's cool.
Yeah, so I thought there was some interesting things there. So do some exploring on your DAOs. Come back. We can add, I guess, an education space about DAOs. I thought that was something to kick off there, because that's what our project's about. So go to the next one. Last week, you guys, in the early part of the week, the curriculum group went through a couple of things, and I heard a couple of important messages in there. This is like I've just dumped a bunch of ideas down, but once we get to the process of determining the governance of the DAO, we'll have to think about things like what is our mission, how we're going to run our proposals, the voting, what to do if there's disputes, what are our values, how decentralized is it going to be versus like the micro versus the macro DAO. And I think Electra has done a lot more study than I have is about how this whole governance is working from a decentralized side to a centralized side.
Deploy value software to track it. Can we have the?
I was just trying to hook Electra up to our soundboard, but it wasn't working. I couldn't get it working.
Yeah, important points to go through for sure.
So as you know, this is the core idea. So at the
muted.
Am I still hearing?
Yeah, got you now.
I couldn't.
Yeah. Cool. So I've just changed sound system. So as you work through the marketing side of it is what we're all about and what message, and some really good points were brought up about, you know, what solution, what is the problem that Peter raised. There was a great point last week, and Jill also raised, you know, our future is not what we think. And so, you know, this so yeah, I think as we go along, when we determine the governance for the DAO, it'll come back to some of that what is, you know, what we are about to start with.
Yeah, I think the more I think about it, we'll probably need to spin up a
So it's a
government.
little bit of a slide deck this rather than a board, but let's go to the next section. So I think that when we come back to the next part of so we've got the core, which is the idea, which is the School of Bitcoin. Then around that, in the green, we've got all of this education. So we've got a lot of education to do around a new system. So if we have a look at the new system, so on the right, we've got the blue circle, which is the current system. It's all operated by control, with control. So nations, sovereign issuers that issue money, there's institution, and the current internet system is based on, you know, a group of companies owning all of our data. So they've got custody of our data, they've got control of our data, and their systems regularly get hacked. So the new system that we're actually, the Bitcoin system provided, was over on the left-hand side, the green circle. And look at all the different things in there, and what does that mean in a new system? So if you were to look at what education do I need to embark on, that's where we could use our actual sticky notes here to say, well, what things do you need to learn about? So if you're involved in the project, we're around the core of the project, what encouraging us all to go, like Ray said, I don't know anything about Bitcoin. So Ray could put up there on his, I need to put up a sticky note, I want to learn about Bitcoin. Someone else goes, well, to learn about the future of money, do I need to learn about token economics?
There's a lovely expression, you don't know what you don't know.
What I'm looking for now is, has anyone got any that they want to put up onto there?
That's a good one, Karen. Should put it in.
What they are seeing is important is to learn to help in this project.
Can you guys still hear us, Gordon? I don't think so. I thought it was going to be muted. Yeah, that was a good one. I'll put it in, Karen. Sorry, what was it?
Sorry
You
about
don't
that.
know what you don't know.
Sorry, we've got a little technical issue here, so.
That's all right. Yeah. Who's that quote from?
I can look it up, but it's something that's used a lot.
It's from you. Yeah, it's good. Really good idea. Well,
yeah, we can hear you now. Sorry, we couldn't hear you for a little while there because our speaker came unplugged.
I figured, yeah, that's all right.
No worries, and that's an example what participants will experience sometimes too. Technology just has that incredible way of being so fabulous, but also, oh damn it, here we go again.
Yes, I think if we were thinking that we're creating this utopia of a new system, which is going to offer all these great benefits of a new financial future, or, you know, it may mean I've got to understand both systems, because I think what we've got here over on the right-hand side, we've got one system, and over on the other side, we've got an open, borderless, decentralized system. But at the same time, the guys over on the blue side, they're creating their own tokenized, blockchain-based systems. And they're going to have, you know, and so it's like we're going to have learning in both. Their systems are going to be replicating the Bitcoin systems, and, you know, and how are they going to roll over from one system to the other? Because while we're building out a system over here, once we've shifted onto the decentralized system, we don't really have to go back to the other system, other than just jumping in on the on and off ramps. We've got our own banking system. We've got our own ownership system. And the system over where we are on this side is actually now a property-based system, whereas on this, the old system, it was a database system. A little bit hard for it, yeah.
So I've got there the transition from a data system to a digital financial system. And Anton Antonopoulos gives a great description of these things.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. Yeah, I think like with this transition as well, like we're obviously with the finance side, what we're trying to do as well is build like an open framework for education. So akin to like what Bitcoin's done for finance or what VoIP has done for communication, we want to try and do that, but for the education system. So however we communicate that, I think that's really important to, maybe even that goes back to like our mission. So like this statement here. So we're always coming back to like building an open framework for the education system. I think that's something to think about too.
And on that first page there's some blocks which you could have a session on it. You know, you might be able to pick some of the suggested blocks that I've got that you actually run a session on each one. So yeah, so think about your education. How are you going to get educated? It's not just about our current what we know. It's what you don't know. Let's learn more. So we'll just go to the next slide there, Jacques.
So you have that there. I like that. That's cool. All right, next one.
Right, so something that a lecturer and Kira and I have been working on is the legal regulations, taxations, and taxation side of things. So where we're at the moment is, okay, is when we're creating a DAO, I'm quite still learning some things about, you know, the DAO, which is, if I could think of it, is not monetized, and then it's just my lack of understanding of.
A DAO has reserves which are for the benefit of its members, kind of like a trust and like a charity or a cooperation of sorts.
So I've got a couple of things to learn about data, like DAOs for like I guess things that we share, which are not necessarily monetized. And I think in the School of Bitcoin that's got some things that I need to learn about. And then you've got the monetary side. So first of all, when we're going through this, just to give you an update at where we're at, we're getting some advice in regards to the legal side.
And I'm also studying the whole concept of the flow of value through a DAO and how it's supposed to work, and reserves and how that's to be managed. And I've got some meetings booked with some software providers who are on the cutting edge of creating plug-in tools for managing the accounting for tokens and DeFi and NFTs with zero accounting software. So that's a real challenge for me at the moment. It might help.
Yeah, we'll cover that a bit in the accounting as well.
Yeah.
So first of all, it's like a structure. If you've got a DAO and you're handing money, then you've got to have a structure.
Yeah.
There's going to be regulations that are involved, then determining what jurisdiction you're going to be in. We talked about IP the other day. And so these are just some issues that we're going to have to consider in the legal side of things.
But you've got to start accounting pretty early. Sorry to sound like an accountant. So this is why it's really important that we decide on the structure, because what are we keeping records for and where? So trying to nail that pretty early this side. Yeah.
I'll give you a hot tip, Electra.
Yeah.
Never use QuickBooks.
I tell people I won't talk to them if they
Oh my God, I had a nightmare of a day yesterday. So I had there's this old lady that like lives sort of around the corner. She had QuickBooks. Her husband's died, so like the business is gone. Her computer died, but I recovered all the data. She's got QuickBooks from like, you know, the year 2000 till now. And there's no way without paying a third party to convert the data to QuickBooks Online for her to get her data back. I was like, oh, and it was like a nightmare. So
yeah, that's what you get for cheap software.
Yeah, that's right.
We won't be using that, trust me. Okay, sorry, Gordon, go on.
That's right.
Yeah.
So in that there at the moment, a couple of things, Jacques, if we just have some sticky notes. Kieran, you had some ideas about what jurisdiction. So you've got Australia.
Well, actually, I've got some news on that as well. So Chris said he's going to put us in touch with one of the people that he's actually working with in El Salvador for the bit refill program. So he's on the board for them, and they basically run it through El Salvador. So that might be something that we can do. And what I really love is to get somehow connected with Bitcoin Beach with this. So like what the projects that they're doing, being able to fund some, student-led projects there would be amazing. But that's, still sort of early days, but it's something on the horizon.
Yeah, can we just put that up as a sticky? For some reason, I can't get into that, Jacques.
And change that accounting and tax to accounting reporting. Reporting is really about transparency. Yeah.
Another place that I researched was the Marshall Islands. Because at the moment, we've got a meeting tomorrow with Joni Pirovic. She's would probably be she is, I think, one of Australia's leading people in the DAO space and regulations. But along the way, it's what is everyone doing now? There's I've been working on a paper with all the different jurisdictions, but at the present time, Kieran threw up sort of an idea of who he's from Ireland, so and what's the best tax-free place to operate the finances from. But at the moment,
it doesn't matter if it's tax-free, because as individuals, you're exposed if you're Australian residents. So yeah.
So there's some things that we'll go through in terms of, we've got ideas. This is the ideas board, but then we're going to go through and understand as a community why we'd be doing, why would we be setting up under Australia's jurisdiction, why would we be going to El Salvador, and what that would mean for the project and the likes. So at the moment, getting advice, obviously we'll come up with some options and then take some actions out of that. So that's just about where we're at the moment. So today we've got a meeting with Lucas Cullen. Lucas is one of Australia, he has Bitcoin Brisbane. He's one of the leading devs in the Australian space. He's involved in a number of DAOs now. So we're just going to find out what are the Australian DAOs doing, or what DAOs he's involved in and what are they doing, and what are other Australian projects doing. And then tomorrow we've got a meeting with Joni Pirovic in regards to questions about all the legal aspects. So we'll just go to the next one. Electra's been diving into
Chicago.
Yeah, interesting. The US obviously. There's I'll post something in Discord I've been learning lots about stacks lately, and I think I was listening to one about how the beginning of stacks and how they set up in the US and what that meant and where the project's at today. So yeah, it becomes very important where you do set up and are you meeting the regulations. You've also got to deal with the whether you are creating security tokens or not. And that's not an area we've really dived into as yet.
So frustrating, isn't it? Like, you wouldn't want innovation, would you?
So the meeting today with Lucas is actually, we've called it reality versus the regulations. So what is everyone doing out there? And I think there's many DAOs that are being spun up with no consideration of regulations or liability or jurisdictions. Yep. So yeah, Electra's doing a stack of work on the accounting, reporting and tax side of things.
Yeah, like tax is just kind of something that you deal with later. Tax is just a business expense. What's most important about this is the accounting from an early period, but that depends on the structure. That's where we start. Yep. And for a DAO, it's especially important that the accounting and reporting, I'd change that word tax to reporting, because reporting covers everything. Sure. But the first people you have to report to are the members of the DAO and those who may wish to become members of the DAO, for them to be able to see it's all about transparency. So yeah, finding a system that see if we were to have an old world, a legacy structure that the DAO grows out of. Yep. Elements of the DAO that are to be open need to be. So striking that balance with the software and the data that shows elements of the DAO that do need to be that needs to be open is I've got a meeting this afternoon with some software I'm researching and I've been looking at with my accountants group.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So lots to be learned. And,
But,
and it'd be interesting to see next, what DAOs are being created on Stacks, what they're doing.
Yeah. For sure.
I've yet to really find, I've been really looking and
I think
searching.
everyone's winging it.
There's hundreds of projects
on
on
Excel
Stacks.
spreadsheets, but we don't want to do Excel spreadsheets. We want to get it right.
So I guess right now, in the very near future, we're gonna have funds coming in from the Stacks Foundation, and obviously, that would go into a wallet, and Kieran, we can talk about that another time there. In the immediacy though, there is, what sort of structure do we need to operate under? Is there going to be tax implications if it is in Australia? We do have a foundation at the Digital Playhouse. It is just a structure that's been put in place. It's called the Digital Playhouse Foundation Limited. We've got a PBI application in at the moment, so that would offer us a tax.
So we're just waiting for the Australian Charities Commission to take their sweet time and process our application for full charity status, which will be very handy. And that's an ideal kind of foundational.
So if we do get contributions or grants, they can be tax-free. And there is, look, so we've got a little structure in the background there that if was needed, it could mean that Kieran could come onto the board. It would set up some policies around how the Stacks community could just basically use and do whatever they want with their wallet, but there is an accounting and reporting system behind it, and it protects, I guess, Kieran is the recipient of the grant from liabilities in regards to that. So we're just doing homework around that, but we do have something there if that we could put up to the community to see if that's a suitable vehicle for the present time without incurring costs and making it easy.
Awesome.
That would be such a value to so many groups that are through this. I mean, the legacy and this future system are going to exist for so long, and then like all this work that you're doing is such a good bridge for the two, I feel.
It's really important, and my own staff in my accounting practice are really, really keen. We're going to be DAO accountants, we've decided, because it's just so needed. It's so confusing.
It's awesome.
It's pretty amazing. It is pretty amazing that there is going to be whole industries are going to, in the next 3 months, Electra's firm.
Because you can't get behind with this stuff, all these transactions between wallets. Try accounting for that 2 months later. You got to be doing it real time, automated from day one, or it's just, there's going to be thousands of DAOs that are in financial reporting compliance trouble. So we don't want that, because we're about financial literacy. So we got this.
And so using our mentors and our advisors, like Lucas Cullen this afternoon for this morning for mentors and advisors like Joni Pirovich, and if you've got some people there that you would think would be really good in this space, then drop them into this as a place you can whack some notes up. Say, guys, can you research this? I know these people. This is a space for you. Just I've thrown some ideas on the cards there. Work that board. So we'll just drop over the next one. How are we going for time? Pretty. Hope we're not taking too much in. Right, so once the grants come in, obviously we've got funding from Stacks. We're talking about spinning up. So just let's throw up some quick ideas here. The idea with our initial investment and grants and funding would be to, first of all, we want to access the decentralized world as much as we can. So if we go and play with the governments, then it's going to be on some government rules. If we're going to play over here, a corporation, it's going to be on their rules. So looking immediately, we've got the Stacks grant. We're talking about if we can put up the sticky note. I think you already mentioned that we're going to go for the Git. Kieran?
Which one, sorry?
Git coin, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Git coin. So getting familiar not only for this School of Bitcoin, there's going to be lots of projects created, I think, within the School of Bitcoin. And anyone that's going to be thinking about projects, where are you going to get your funding from?
Yeah.
So obviously all the blockchain foundations have sources of funding. Gitcoin's got one. There's BitDAO, if we can just if someone could just search up BitDAO.
I'll look it up.
BitDAO is a fund which has, let's have a look at the amount of money in this fund.
Is it the right website?
Yep, that's the one. Yep. So if we just go down here, well, they've got $1.85 billion sitting there.
Wow.
The partner contributions, if you have a look at who's contributed, this is predominantly, I think, just all around ETH. Oh, they got, no, what have they got? USD.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
Yeah, wow.
All right, these are like, this is like, looks like a collective of like VCs that have created this DAO. You know, so finding and sourcing out these areas of funding.
Yeah.
How you apply, you can put up proposals. So if you went into BitDAO, I think it's, I'm pretty sure BitDAO is just really around the Ethereum ecosystem. But as say, for example, you say wanted to bridge stacks to Ethereum, you know, and you know, you could maybe go to the BitDAO and apply for funding alike. So you can see some massive contributions rolling in there.
All Ethereum.
Yeah,
that's so cool. Yeah, awesome. The other one was I posted something. Was it OK Coin? That's some announcement. Funding.
Because as we go to the next part and we go, okay, we've got to establish the software. Well, who's going to pay for this software? It's going to cost a lot of, you know, can cost a lot of money.
Yep.
So this one?
So I guess if you follow me, I'm working down some paths here of how we're actually going to realize the project to building the software.
Yep.
Yeah. Next one.
And this is pretty. All right, so marketing, we're pretty much covered. So at the moment, I think out of this board here, I just thought, well, starting to post up what you're actually, you know, what are we going to choose? We've got a heap of ideas there. What ones are we going to build and who's going to be responsible for them? All right, so in the marketing side, I guess one thing we've got in there is that communications marketing is we've got Discord, we've got a website, we've got a Twitter, there's a bunch of other ideas.
Yeah.
And so working out and putting some of those up, getting them going and getting the appropriate people to manage, monitor, like you have to monitor Discord, you have to monitor Twitter, you have to, you know, and getting someone that goes, hey, I'm a Twitter freak, I love being there. Someone who's in Discord doing like Jeremy's helped us out there. If you're the Instagram person, then you've got to like manage that and run that. You can't just leave it alone and sit there. So we'll just,
didn't use it?
So if you've got one that you want to put your hand up for and you're going, I think Electra set up the Facebook and the LinkedIn. She's pretty much in there a lot. So
and LinkedIn as well.
Yeah. So getting some roles and responsibility, even though we want to be this decentralized autonomous organization of anonymous people, at the end of the day, there's all these people working in there together. And it doesn't matter if you're anonymous or not, you've still got a role to play.
Yeah.
So we'll just go to the next slide there, Jacques.
This is all Kieran, by the way.
Oh, is it Kieran? Cool. No worries. Okay. So over here, we can start to build out who are our partners, who is out, where our communities are, what stakeholders are in there and what they're going to, you know, expect from us, and then develop bounty programs as we get a fund and we've got things and we need things to be done. So what else have we got on there charts? So you could do sessions on all these there alone. So once we get to the software, obviously the people that are working on the software, they can start to put things into here. What tools are you going to use? How's it going to get built out? You can go over to the finance department then and go, hey guys, we need money for this.
Yeah.
And I think probably Kieran was one thing which I hadn't had in here is a voting system, even before we become a DAO.
Yes.
Are some things going to need to be voted on and what system are we going to use?
That's a real, I was thinking that the other day, actually, really good point.
And there is a DAO, there is a Stacks in some of their videos, they talk about voting. It was one of their objectives early to build a voting system on Stacks.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that's in place there yet. I think that might be something they're building out with their DAO, because I'm not sure they haven't totally handed stacks over to the community, as I can see yet. I'm still learning about that. But yeah, right now, so say for example, we get in stacks money, you need a place to put it. We dropped it in, we dropped the stacks money in the accounting side into the Digital Playhouse Foundation, but then the community needs to vote on what's happening with that actual pool of funds right now before we have a DAO. And there should be that sort of process in place with, you know, some core people who is involved in that voting, even in these early stages. Bit like you did at Warrana Park.
Yeah. I mean, using a blockchain-based solution would be great. I'm just thinking in the interim, Jeremy, do you know if there's anything that plugs into Discord that lets you vote on there? You're on mute.
Yeah, there should be a bot that has that kind of functionality. Have a look to see which one's the best.
I think when we go into D work, I think they've got a voting mechanism in there, so that could be something that we can.
Oh, cool. Even better.
I think that's what it said. So
yeah,
pretty much.
Let's figure that out, but like for next week, and let's just do a test vote on something in the interim, and we'll have a play with a few different ones.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
so I think they're things that we need to put into action what we're saying. So, you know, getting some principles. I don't see why we need to open a bank account, a traditional bank account. Yeah. You can just sit out there in the decentralized world. If you need to use an off ramp to pay a bill, where you could use Living Room as Satoshis or something like that. Yeah. So really practicing what we're all about here would be I think really key.
Yeah, we don't need another bank account. We'll just keep a.
No, I want to get rid of bank accounts. I don't want more.
So just quickly, I know this is a fairly big session, guys, but jumping through to the outer circle of, you know, once the project's up and running, we've got to monitor it. We've got core teams. So there will be, I don't know, say, for example, how Aave, a big decentralized autonomous organization, runs. It's how will our organization run, our community, how's that going to run? What roles, who's going to be there? What's that? What are your responsibilities? How are reputations determined? Because in this decentralized space, there's a lot about reputation. You can be anonymous, but have reputation. And so forming those, you know, what elements in deep work, when you assess a person that's applied to do the work, they've got, and they'll explain that to us about, you know, well, what's the reputation of this person? So there are going to be some interesting things that applying these new methods to who's in your core team. So yeah, and then the final outside is all the people that would be, you know, we've got the people involved in the organization, the learners. So these are all the different resources and people. So, you know, I hope that there's some tools there that we can use to build out. There's obviously going to be a lot of design work. Who's going to do the design work along the way?
No teachers.
Cool. So they can be. So this is like a, you know, just some ideas here that is to who's participating.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Mentors. Yeah. Cool. Oh yeah. A mentors program. That's really what we want. And so like, that's what the community is kind of fostering, you know, like akin to what's already on like something like GitHub, but a community built around that. So yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah. So if you've got someone who's a great mentor, Karen mentioned earlier today. Karen,
yeah.
The Debono.
Yeah.
You know, so if there's someone that, even if it's a program, it could be a person, it could be something that's our learning center. So yeah, building out all these things to grow this. So I hope that's helpful. Look, I just left that on the back page.
There's my crappy diagram. No,
I didn't know how that all fits into establishing a business structure.
Yeah. Well, I think this is more. Well, I guess it is part of the whole overarching days as well, isn't it? So yeah, definitely is part of it. That's awesome, Gordon. It definitely clarifies a lot of stuff. I think there's a lot of work to be done there, but I think the key point out of this that we probably need to address relatively soon is the voting mechanism. and how we authenticate that. So like, ideally, I'd like something like a blockchain-based solution or even a stacks-based solution if there's one. But in the interim, let's have a play with a few different ones, because I think like we used one on NEM at school. There was another one, God, I forget the name of it. Something built on Ethereum, started with A. It was pretty cool as well, and you could do it on a test net, so it didn't actually cost anything. That was fun, and there was like some other one that we tried, but there's one on stacks specifically that'd be awesome. I'll stop sharing. That's really cool.
That's it from me, guys.
Yeah, any questions from anyone? All good. Well, we might leave it there for today, eh? And then we've got so what is it, 11:30 the meeting with the
Yeah, we're meeting with Lucas Cullen at 11:30.
Oh, he's just said no on the invite.
Oh, did he? Okay.
I really hope to talk to him today before our lawyers tomorrow.
We'll
Can
see if we can
get another
reschedule
time?
that.
Yeah. Okay.
So there we go. Cool. All right. Well, thanks, guys. We'll leave it there. I think there's a lot of stuff to do in the interim. I'm gonna set up today, or any voting mechanisms you can think of. Dump them into Discord. Jeremy, if you can set up a bot to do that, we can try play around with that as well.
Yep.
And I'm gonna set up a type form today at some point, and we'll see if we can get that mechanism working for the authentication. And I'm going to hit these Gitbook guys up to see what we can get as well. Hopefully we can get a, well, actually, that's what I was going to say. If you get the not-for-profit status or charity status, they actually have a thing on their site for that specifically. So we just like give them that, and then we can sort of use it. So that'd be really helpful as well.
That's on the Gitbook. Okay, beautiful.
Yeah. So they've got a few different options. It's funny, they specify that you can't be just a school. It has to be like a project in a school, and you can't be a religion. So they said, no, we're not giving anything to religion. So, and it's like one of the criteria. It was really funny. They said no dogma, and I thought, well, I guess Satoshi's white paper is kind of dogma, right? So maybe we don't fit that. But anyways, all right, I'll get on with that. And yeah, we'll meet up on Monday.
Yeah, one last thing, Kieran. You know, one thing I've learned in blockchain projects is you can you can just stick with Bitcoin and learn everything about Bitcoin, or you can go over to Ethereum, and it's so vast, that community, or Algorand or Stacks. You know, building out a Stacks community, there's plenty of opportunities in Stacks to gain financially. Is what I see. There's plenty of opportunity to learn. There's going to be businesses developed out of here. So, you know, even if you're not into crypto, start in the Discord. We'll be starting to build out the Stacks community. I'm going to drop up some videos about the history of Stacks. Start to look at, you know, meetups. So I've got the guys from Byron Bay are keen for us to drop down to talk to them about kicking off a Stacks community there, as in, you know, a bunch of stackers, they want to learn about it. Here in Agnes Water, one of our girls that at Advanced Crypto just messaged me this morning and said, hey, let's build out, you know, a community for Stacks here. So yeah, around yourselves there in your own little crypto communities, or if you're not in one and you're introducing people to it, you've got Bitcoin obviously, but then you can introduce them to Stacks and they can start to learn. So build out that. Yeah, don't be afraid to jump into the community side of building Stacks, ANZ.
100%. Very cool. All right, well, we'll reconvene on Monday for the next Carrick sesh, and I'll see you guys at 11:30 maybe.
All right, awesome.
Let us know if it's still happening. Thanks everybody. This is awesome.
Thank you for your help, everyone.
So Jill, I'll see if I can spin up a Gitbook page for the cards as well, so you can have a play with that, and we can jump in and start creating stuff.
Excellent. And Karen and I, we just messaged each other. We're going to have a little bit of a play with some critical thinking ideas around the DeFi space. So we'll get back to you on that as well.
Awesome. Thanks guys. Thanks everybody.
All right. Thank you.